Alright, James Ray here. I wanted to show you a few things today. The first thing was, well, before I get into that, first of all, it's been refreshing speaking with a lot of people lately. Um, just been having a lot of really open and intelligent conversations with the people about what the rate hikes have been like with the from the electricity companies and what the companies have been making people pay over the years, like with the increases, and compared to like being able to lower their electricity bills with solar and batteries, and oftentimes even getting a negative bill, like where they can actually be making money with their electricity instead of paying for bills. So the purpose of this video is just to show you a little bit about what the rate hikes have been, um, from the power companies, and how we've been able to help homeowners to lower the bills or eliminate them and turn them into negative bills where they're actually making money and avoiding the rate hikes year to year, and just being able to be more comfortable with how much electricity that they're using, so they don't have to like cut back on their usage just to avoid the power companies from kind of bullying them into using less electricity. So let me share that with you. So here we are. Um, Alright, so come back to the top here. So this is a folder that I've put together. So what I want to do is just go over some things. So this is the map of, it's a bit of an outdated map, but it shows some of our customers in the Sydney area with all the yellow markers here being our customers, and um, I live in the Blue Mountains, so some of them are the yellow and the red, the orange and the blue markers are some of the ones that I've been working with lately, and the green ones are some of my customers, not all of them. Now, so this is Simi's electricity bills in 1991, the blue one down here, and in 2023. So it basically just shows what the rate hikes have been like. So from around 10 cents a kilowatt hour, which works out to be the average of these two rates, up to around 46 cents a kilowatt hour, which is kind of like the average amount that he's paying, when you account for the daily supply charges. So down in this bill here, there wasn't any like fixed dollar charge per day. But in 1996, they introduced the daily supply charge, which is like a charge for the cost of maintaining the poles and wires to be able to deliver the electricity to your home. So not only from 1996 onwards will you charge for the electricity that you use, but also for how much you draw from the grid. Just want to make sure my video is working properly. Okay, here, there we go. Just going to double check it's still working. Yep, great. Alright, so back to where we were. So yeah, I've calculated what the average rates are here, but in these comments, and this is publicly available. You can access it if you go to bit.ly/energy ownership. That will take you to a Google Doc, and then you'll be able to find the link for this. Actually, what I'll do is I'll just I'll just share this link now and put it into bit.ly, and I'll put that in the comments here afterwards. I'll just do it right now. So this is a link. So if I go to bit.ly, ly, I can just make a tiny URL to redirect that longer link to a shorter one. Here we go. So just paste that link to create a shorter link. There we go. And I'm just going to rename that actually. So, I'm just going to create a custom back half for this to make it easier to find. So I'll just say EA photos. Save that. Oh. Okay, there we go. I'll just paste it here as well. There we go. Okay, back to where we were. So that's, yeah, you can access this album if you go to bit.ly/photos/oz, like that. Now, so back to where we were here. So in the comments, I've calculated what his average rate, electricity rate is for each of these bills. So the first one, it's you can see there's only two different charges for the bill. So there's a lower rate and a higher rate for the electricity. So the lower rate would have been, so this was from 22nd of April to the 19th of July. And so the lower rate would have been for the first financial year up until the 30th of June, and then the higher rate would have been from the 1st to the 19th of July. So it's quite a difference, actually, quite a jump from 9.5 cents to 12.4 cents per kilowatt hour. I mean, only 3 cents, but relatively it's like a 12.44 divided by 9.52 was like a 30% increase in the cost. So if we work out the average rate, that works out to be, so how it's worked out here is in the comments. It's already calculated. So here it is. So for average usage rate in 1991 is calculated like this. So the $280.93 is the total amount that he was charged for the electricity, divided by the sum of the kilowatt hours that he used. So the kilowatt hours is a unit of electricity, so he used 2572 plus 290 kilowatt hours of electricity. So add those two numbers up, you get about 2,800 862 kilowatt hours. 280.93 divided by 2,862 is equal to 9.82 cents per kilowatt hour. So that's his average rate that he was charged for this bill. Okay. And then so comparing that for the average rate for this bill, the way it works out, we add that out, we calculate that is what we do is we add up all the charges for his electricity. So that's, just going to zoom in here. So it's $9 plus 78 cents plus $3.69. You can see that here. Plus $46.06 plus $1.02 plus $22.08 plus yeah, that's it. So that comes to $82.90 that he was charged for the electricity that he used. So that's including these two peak periods plus the control low period and plus the non-peak period. Okay. So yeah, the rates. This was his June to July bill. So that was only the last 3 days of June. Most of it was for the July and the new financial year. So they increased the rates from 30 cents per kilowatt hour to 40.6 cents per kilowatt hour. So it's quite a jump. That works out to be 40.6 divided by 30.36. About a 25% increase. Oh, 33.7% increase. So that was quite a jump for him, and so that prompted him to make a video on YouTube that he's published and shop around for a better plan. So basically, yeah, his average rate. One way to work it out is we sum up the usage charges, divide by the kilowatt hours, which you get 27.5 cents per kilowatt hour for that. However, if you account for the daily supply charges as well, if you add those up, then it's 59 cents plus $5.06 plus $3.71 plus $46.41. Adding those up, you get 138 plus the usage charges, you get $138.67. So that was the total charge for both the supply charges and for his usage. So when we take that number and divide it by the kilowatt hours, 300 kilowatt hours, we get 46.1 cents per kilowatt hour. So that's his average charge per kilowatt hour for the electricity that he used during this period. Okay. And then if we divide that by 9.82 cents, the average rate in 1991 that he got for his 1991 bill, it works out to be 461% higher, or 461% more. So, or 361% increase from 1991 to 2023. And so 361% increase works out to be an increase over 32 years of, on average, 361 divided by 32. It's about about 11. So 11% per year. Yeah. So 361% divided by 32 years is equal to 11.3% increase per year. Alright, so that average rate of 46, so again that's accounting for the charges for his usage, the charges for delivering the electricity to his home. It doesn't include the credits he got for his solar, because we only accounting for the charges that he had to pay for the electricity that he used from the grid, not accounting for the credits here. He also got a low-income household rebate, so not everyone gets that, so I haven't included that here. So yeah, this was in 2023 versus 1991. So next one, this is from the tariff tracking project from Vinnie's, St. Vincent de Paul's. So it shows the increase in electricity prices for the different Australian states from 2009 to 2023 in nominal amounts, including GST, and it's assuming 6,000 kilowatt hours is used per year, which is about the average for a typical Australian home. So for New South Wales, the bill amounts have increased from about $1,400 in 2009 to about $2,700 or so in 2023. So that works out to be like 2,700 divided by 1,400. It's almost doubled the bills over 14 years. Okay. There's some more comments here. You can read that if you want to. This is the source of where the video is from. Yeah. So if it's like 2,600, let's say, to 1,400, it's what's that equal in terms of an increase? It's a 85% increase. So not quite double, but just around that over 14 years. So per year that works out to be it's about a 1485. It's over 56, around 66% per year. Sorry, it's a bit slow. Keep moving while that calculates. I've got to comment. So 2,600 divided by 1,400, that's 85.7% increase over 14 years. And then per year that works out to be, it's just still calculating it, a 6.1% increase per year. Okay, next one. This is from Statista. So the increase for electricity and gas compared to the CPI. So it's gone from around like 40 cents, 40 to 144. So that works out to be 144.7 divided by 40. That's 3.615. So 361%. So 144.7 divided by 40 equals, what was it? 3.61, 361%. 3.61. So that's a 261% increase over 29 years. And so that works out to be 261 divided by 29. It's an increase of, on average, 9% per year. Obviously it's not linear, like it compounds the increases over time. Okay. Yeah, you can see like, yeah, again, like it's not a linear increase. It's like the rate of increase is increasing generally over time. There's some ups and downs, which is pretty normal. Like in 2007, the year 2000 with the Y2K, there's a dip in the lead up and then it spiked. Similarly, in the financial crisis, it went up a bit more, and there was a spike in 2012. Not sure what the cause of that was. Then it went down a bit, and then up again. So this is the increase in electricity prices compared to inflation. So up until like the financial crisis, it kind of tracked with inflation, and then there was more privatization with the electricity companies, and so the rates have increased more over time compared to inflation since the financial crisis. I'll come back to that later. So this is CME's bill, which we went over, showed before. So I've calculated here what the average rates are. So 46 cents a kilowatt hour is what works out to be his average rate. That's when you account for the usage charges and the daily supply charges. So when you add those charges all up and divide by the kilowatt hours, you get so 300 is the total kilowatt hours. And then add up all the charges, then the total charges are $140.93. That's excluding any credits from his household rebate and from the solar credits. Including GST, comes to $148.93. So take that number and divide it by the kilowatt hours, 300, you get 49.5 cents per kilowatt hour. So yeah, it's kind of pretty complicated with all the different charges, but yeah, it's 49.5 compared to 9.82 2023 average rate versus the 1991 average rate. That equals it's 5 times higher, so 400% increase. So 4% increase over, that's 32 years. So 404 divided by 32 is equal to an average increase of 12.6% per year. Okay. Alright, so again, this is accounting for the usage, the electricity consumption charges and the usage charges, and it's excluding any credits, and yeah, excluding the solar credits, excluding the rebate, it's including GST. And the reason for that is, again, because we want to calculate the average rate that he gets charged for using electricity from the grid. Okay. So again, that's going over the same thing. This is a customer, Luke, in Blacktown. He was charged $243 for this bill. This is for the over from August to 19th, so the quarterly bill, and you can see there's more charges here. So there's different periods from August and then from the February. So you can see there was a rate increase from August to February. So it just goes to show that they can increase your Oh no, the rates actually, so from August to September, the rates actually decreased just slightly. Yeah, I don't know why they did that, but you normally think they would increase the rate to make more profit, but I guess in this case they decided to be nice. um, and so in September, he was charged a dollar. Oh, so you can see the supply charge increased from August to September, but the usage rate decreased a little bit, just by 0.026 cents. So yeah, but there's a big increase for the supply charge. So just goes to show how complicated it can be with, like, they can increase the rates anytime they want, really, and by however much they want, and make it look like it might be even a decrease by decreasing one rate but increasing the other. So I guess it can be hard for people to keep track of these changes. Anyways, so for if we look at just September here, because otherwise it gets confusing if we look at multiple different periods. In September, his average daily usage was just under 7 kilowatt hours per day, and so over 24 days, that's 164 kilowatt hours that he used, that would have been measured by the meter. And then he's charged 36.4 cents per kilowatt hour. So when you multiply these two amounts, you get just under $60 per kilowatt hour that he was charged. And then for the 24 days, $1.26 times 24 is 30. He was also charged a peak demand charge. So what the peak demand charge is when he uses power, like, not everyone's charged the peak demand charge, but he is. So the way it works with the peak demand charge is the power company will charge you based on the maximum amount of power, electricity that you will use in a single instant. So for the whole quarter, and it'll apply that across the whole quarter. So if you're running the air conditioning, the lights, if you turn on everything, the vacuum cleaner, the toaster, the oven, everything all at once, and then you're going to have a higher peak demand charge. Okay, and then that peak demand charge it's applied to the maximum kilowatts that you use. So for him it was pretty low, and then it applies the peak demand rate, which is in kilowatts per day. So about 5 cents here. So then it applies that over the 24 days. So like it's 2.23 here, multiplied by the charge, which is 5 cents per kilowatt per day, and then multiply that by 24 days, which you get. It's not much. It's only $3, but again, his usage wasn't that much. So if other homes can have a peak demand of 5 or 10 kilowatts or more if they're using a lot of appliances or any industrial loads like pools or pumps or any heavy loads, I mean. So he was only charged about $6 for the peak demand. He was charged about $30 for the delivering the electricity to his home over those 24 days, and $60 for the electricity that he used. So he was charged $60 for using the electricity and $96 in total. So roughly 1.5 times as much compared to how much the electricity that he used. So for the total quarter, he was charged $317. Alright. Next one is just his average usage. So it went from 8 to 12 kilowatt hours in the more mild months, and then in winter, it's typically the highest. So he used up to 18 or so kilowatt hours then. But yeah, on average, generally pretty lower. This is another one of his bill. It's a simpler one, so I won't go into too much, but you can see it's like simple. There's less charges here, but he's charged for like the off-peak usage and the peak usage and a supply charge. This particular customer, they used up to 22.9 kilowatt hours per day. So that for the total charge, they charged $1,117 for the quarter. This is a customer in Bonnet Bay. Again, he's charged $13.21 for the quarter. There's multiple charges here, so you can see the rates increasing a little from July, June and July to August. So they increased the rates from 46.1 cents per kilowatt to 49.6. So that's like a 5% increase, 5 to 10% increase. So 49.6 divided by 46.1 is 7.5%. So I'm just making a comment here. Sorry, jumping around. Okay, so so we can see here, so 49.6 divided by 46.1 is equal to, what is that? It was 7.5% increase. Sorry, it's pretty slow. Alright, and the supply chart, so that was the increase in the peak rate. You got a hot water rate as well, so he's using a fair bit of hot water, and you can see those increased too, and similarly the supply charge also increased. So yeah, so it just goes to show, the rates increasing for across the board for the peak, the hot water, and the supply charge. This is Simi's increase in usage. So yeah, he went up to $1.50 a day for the supply charge, and 36 cents per kilowatt hour for the electricity usage rate. So that's gone up from 9 to 12 cents a kilowatt hour in 1991, 10 cents a kilowatt hour on average, like we worked out earlier. Then they introduced the supply charges here, which is this purple line, in 1996, and so they've gone from like the 30 cents per kilowatt hour, which is the initial rate, up to $1.54 per day. So that's compared to inflation. I do want to compare. So that's a 200% from 2005 to 2023. That they've gone from 12 cents a kilowatt hour to 36 cents. So that's a 200% increase. So if we go here, so this is the rates in 2019. So 19 cents and 76 cents per day, 19 cents per kilowatt hour, and then in 2005, 12 cents per kilowatt hour and 35 cents per day. So if we come back here, so take note of that, 12 cents per kilowatt hour and not 35 cents per day in 2005. So if we compare that with, so that's compared with 36 cents per day. Sorry, 36 cents per kilowatt hour and $1.54 per day that was in 2023. Alright, so coming back to here, so yeah, 12 compared with 36 is a 200% increase. And so comparing that with general inflation, I'll show you here, it's a 71% increase. So yeah, like the average, yeah. So from the RBA's calculator here, you can work out the inflation between two different dates. So between 2004 and 2024, the increase has been 71.6, or annually 2.7% on average. So that's compared with the 200% increase in total over 20 years with the price of electricity for Simi, the increase in cost. Oh, and this is just Simi rates in 1991, so 12 cents per kilowatt hour. Alright, so this shows that overall, typically the inflation has been lower than wage growth. However, in recent years, inflation has outpaced the wage growth, and that was also the case in the Y2K financial crisis and in the global financial crisis. You can see here that there's been significantly more of a dip recently. Inflation has outpaced wage growth significantly more in recent years compared to the global financial crisis. It's been a similar amount compared to Y2K. So what that means is not only has electricity costs increased recently compared to inflation, but inflation has also increased relative to wage growth, which puts more pressure financially on. Obviously, as most people you probably already know, it puts more pressure on families financially. So this one here, this shows the yellow line shows how much you would have home solar owners have avoided having to pay in total from installing a solar system. Forget what the assumptions were. I think it was like a 10 kilowatt system. I got ChatGPT to work it out, so maybe not 100% reliable, but it estimates the savings over time. If you install this solar system, say 1 year ago or 2 years ago, you'd save about $2,000 compared to continuing to pay for electricity, and you'd also save a little bit from avoiding the rate hikes. Whereas if you install a solar system like 5 years ago, you would have avoided having to pay like $6,000 in electricity bills in total compared to just not doing anything and continuing to pay for bills, and it also avoid about $2,000 in the rate hikes. So like about $4,000 in savings on like the current bill amount, plus another $2,000 in paying to avoid paying another $2,000 savings from avoiding having to pay for the rate hikes because of lowering the bill and keeping it lower. Over 10 years, about $8,500 in savings from rate hikes, and another $4,000 from on top with the bill savings. So over 10 years, the savings from avoided inflation is actually more, like roughly double as much as the savings on the current bills. So here, this is like shows the net present value with the dashed lines versus the present value with avoiding with the cumulative dollars saved or the costs avoided, like opportunity costs as well, with having more money come back into your pocket with negative bills and making money with owning a bigger battery. So the yellow dashed line here and the green dashed line is the green solid line is 4 Tesla Powerwalls with 54 kilowatt hours, so that's a larger setup. So correspondingly, the dollars saved is more the high. It's a higher net present value for over like 10, 20 years for having a so with a 4 Tesla Powerwalls, the net present value would be roughly about $100,000. So that's taking into account the avoided bill savings, the avoided rate hikes, not having to pay for those, plus having more income like a passive revenue stream coming back in from switching to amber and making money by exporting electricity on the wholesale market. The present value is the value in like today's dollars nominally, which is about like $140,000. So you can see here that for a bigger battery, you get the net present value changes from negative to positive more quickly for a bigger one, and that's because you get more back by exporting more, and also the cost per kilowatt hour for the battery is lower. For a bigger battery, you get more battery for your buck, like with a bigger battery, because there's this relatively fixed labor costs and so on, compared to the more battery for the similar amount of other hardware. Now, again, the net present value is smaller for a small battery. So, like one Powerwall is 13.5. So that's like this green line here, or the net present value for one Powerwall 3 is lower. Is about $50,000 over 20 years, or 20,000 or so over 10 years. So roughly, like the value in today's the total net present value for getting a battery from like a 10 to a 54 kilowatt hour battery would range from around like $10,000 to $190,000 or $90,000 for a larger battery. That's over 10 years, and more of a. I mean, the batteries typically expected to last 15 to 17 years, so more over a long period. So these are the annual savings for different battery sizes. So around $2,500 to $13,500 annually for a 10 to 54 kilowatt hour battery, and that's assuming like a 13 kilowatt PV system. The larger the PV system, the better, because it means there's more generation to charge the battery in the winter. Oh, and this is the net savings annually. I think it's the average. So I think that includes like the cost of the battery itself. So this is a case study of Rob. So we installed a 19.2 kilowatt hour SunGrow battery for him in October 2024, and he went from spending about $250 per month on average, or $1,500 over 6 months, so that was in 2023. He went to making money. So at the end of June, he had $1,211 in credit after 8 months of having his system installed. And so, we installed 17 kilowatts of solar in addition to the battery. And so, in addition to saving about $250 a month, he's also been making about $150 a month. So that works out to be $400 in total monthly savings. Then over 10 years, with like 2 to 5% inflation, like the savings over 10 years for him, or the avoided cost for him, would be like $59,000 to $68,000. So you can also look at this as an opportunity cost of not having a battery. Alright, so this is a SunGrow 25.6 kilowatt hour battery. There's 8 modules here. Each module is 3.2 kilowatt hours. You can see we've installed white bollards to go with the white battery and the white inverter on top here. So you can see it looks pretty neat. You know, you'd expect that, right? If you were paying someone to have, like, for a long-term investment in your home. Alright, and so this document here, this screenshot is a link to this document here over the side, so you can access it if you go to bit/ly/energy ownership. There's more information in this document. And this was Rob's bills before we installed his system. So he had $57 to 280 monthly bills, before it was installed. He was charged $572 from August to October, and then another $942 from May to August, which you can see those amounts here and here. Okay. So that's $1,515 over 6 months. So monthly it's $250. And this is his usage. So 1662 divided by 87 works out to be about 19 kilowatt hours. I didn't calculate it that quickly in my head. It's because I just did this calculation. This is a retake. I'm shooting this video again. I did this calculation while shooting it for the first time. So yeah, 19.1 kilowatt hours a day is his average usage. So it's a bit higher than the average of 16 kilowatt hours a day, but not too far off. This is Rob's bills with Amber after we installed the system. So this was his December bill. He got a $279 payout. So typically the payouts are higher in summer and winter because of more demand for electricity, more people running their air conditioner to keep comfortable. So his battery, he's making money for him, but it's also helping to keep the grid more stable by providing electricity for when people actually need it. And so that's also making the electricity supply cleaner from, electricity supply that comes from the sun rather than from fossil fuels, which, as is contributing to climate change and to global warming. So, all these bills are accessible in this document here, but they're also shared here. So $280 payout for December. So he adds, if you look more closely low, you can see he got credits of $345 plus $65 in charges. So that includes a $10 charge for using not a lot of electricity. So this is over 30 days. He used 76 kilowatt hours, so not that much. If an average home uses 16 kilowatt hours a day over 30 days, it would work out to be quite a lot. So 676 divided by 30 is equal to what? It's like 3 kilowatt hours a day, 2.5 kilowatt hours a day, right? So he's not using that much. Two and a half. Yeah, 2.53. That's comparing to 16 kilowatt hours per day usage for an average home. Okay. So his usage rate was also lower, so the average rates, he was charged 13.38 cents per kilowatt hour usage rate versus 36 cents average rate typically. Okay, and that's because the reason for that is because this is the wholesale rates. So the way it works is if this battery goes flat overnight, he will draw electricity from the grid. You can see that hasn't happened much. Alternatively, if the battery gets used up overnight, it can what the way it works is Amber can automatically top up the battery when the wholesale prices are lower, and that way he's got more reserve in the battery to meet his needs when home needs when there are higher prices in the evening and in the morning, and he can also export more electricity to the grid again in the evening and the morning when there are price spikes, so that way the battery can just make more money for him in addition to minimizing his bills or putting them in credit. Okay, so yeah, $65 charges, $345 credits. So in total, like deducting the difference, he was paid out $280. And so it's a similar thing for the other bills, other monthly bills. So for his January bill, he was charged $93. He got $223 in credits, and so in total he was paid out $131 for the month. Okay. So again, you can see the usage rates were pretty low. The usage was pretty low. Supply charge 86 cents a day. His export rate wasn't as high as it was in December because there weren't as many price spikes. So 12.3 cents per kilowatt hour versus 23.3 cents per kilowatt hour in December. Okay. Next one. Go back. So these are some of our recent installations. This was an Anker battery. So that's this is the built-in close-up of the inverter on top with the built-in display. So if we zoom in, you can see that it shows the battery is fully charged at 100%. It's got the 54.4 kilowatt hours is being generated from the solar system for that day, and the current usage in the home is 2.8 kilowatts. So it says on grid, which means it's connected to the grid. There's no blackout. So it's got a little Wi-Fi icon to show it's connected to the internet. So the brand is Anker Solix. So it's a 15 centimeter thick battery, which is less than the width of a smartphone. So my smartphone is 19 centimeters long, and the width is only like 5 centimeters or something like that. And so because it's got a built-in display, if it's in the garage, it's easy to check when you pull in at the end of the day or before you head out for the day, so you don't have to look at the app. Oh, my camera's just gone off. I'll just turn that back on again. Okay. I'll just go to the next one. So this is a review from the customer that installed this battery. So he says it looks gorgeous, tidy and smart. Can detect my existing on-grid solar system to charge the battery at the same time. Next, he'll be looking to get a smart EV charger, which Anker does supply as well. So he got a 25 kilowatt hour battery. There is a close-up photo of the whole system. So you can see each battery module here is 5 kilowatt hours. So there are 5 batteries here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 5 kilowatt hours each is 25 plus the inverter on top. Okay. All right. And so it looks like this battery was installed in the basement or the garage or something with the cabling coming through the wall. And the advantage of installing inside is that it'll be out of direct sunlight, and what that means is the battery's not heating up as much, and so anything electronic will degrade more quickly in the heat, and that includes batteries. So if the warranty is at least 70% after 10 years, if the battery's installed in the garage, or it could be more like 80% capacity at least after 10 years. So basically it will degrade slower, so the battery will typically last longer So it's expected to last like 15 to 17 years on average if installed outdoors in Sydney. If it was more in direct sunlight, it'd be more like 15, maybe less. But if installed in the garage, it could be 17 or more years that it would last. Okay. Next one. This is the Anker app. We have been doing quite a lot of installations with the Anker, about 60%. Personally, I prefer the Powerwall. I'll go into why, but I mean, yeah, I'll go into that a bit later. But the Anker battery, it's decent in terms of like price point and overall look and feel of the battery, the app, how it works with Amber. So you can see here the power. It shows the power coming from the panels, how much goes to the grid, how much is going to the home. Okay, and so the battery is showing it's fully charged here. It shows how much is produced for the day, how much CO2 savings there are, and you can look at the week, the month, and the year as well. Yeah, so if you look on you can see the years as well. So if you look on YouTube, you'll be able to see like a walkthrough of the app as well with Anker. Alright, so this is a wall-mounted battery with Anker. So this is a 20 kilowatt-hour battery with 4 5 kilowatt-hour modules plus the inverter on top. So you can see there is a foundation vent here. So we wall-mounted it so it will be above the foundation vents. There are clearance requirements for that, and so the reason why it was wall-mounted is because looks like there might be limited space for this house because there is a clearance requirement of 600 millimeters away from any windows, doors. There's an air conditioner further down, so there's 600 millimeter clearance requirements from that as well. So yeah, it looks like this might have been the best location to install it. And this was installed in late July, this particular battery. Alright, so this is the Amber app. You can see for this particular customer, they had a negative bill of $142 for the past 29 days. This was in January, and so for that particular day, they got a $9 credit in total. They exported 53 kilowatt hours and earned about $9.65 for the day, so they weren't charged that much. They didn't use that much, and for the little amount of 8.5 kilowatt hours that they did use, they weren't charged much for that at all. Like only 40 cents with the difference between these two amounts. And so most of that energy came from the sun, from renewables, rather than coming from the grid, the 8.5 kilowatt hours. Yeah, so the blue bar is the amount of usage from the grid rather than from the solar. Okay. So this is a 20 kilowatt hour battery. It's all in one stack compared to this other one that we installed there where there were 2 stacks. So you can only install like maximum of 2 modules per stack for a wall mounted installation, but for a ground mounted installation like this one, the maximum you can install in one stack is 20 kilowatt hours. And again, you can see the thickness of the battery here. It's only 15 centimeters, so you can see it's quite thin, which works quite well if it's installed indoors, like in a garage where there could be, especially a single car garage, or if it's just like limited space to be able to park a car. There's 2 bollards here, and yeah, happy customer and an installer. All right. This is what the savings look like compared to a standard retail offer, assuming like 22 kilowatt hours is used per day, so it's a bit higher than the average of 16. Assuming with a solar 10 kilowatt system, which is about the average size installed, been installed over the past couple of years. But the average has been going up over the years, so next year might be higher, and so on. But for a 10 to 50 kilowatt hour battery, which is typically the smallest size being installed is around 10, and then the federal battery rebate goes up to 50. So you can get a battery above 54, but you just get a rebate for the first 50 kilowatt hours. Okay. So like 4 Tesla Powerwalls is 54 kilowatt hours, and one is like 13 and a half. And then you can get 2 or 3, and there's other battery brands as well. So for Sydney, the east coast of Sydney, like close to the coast, like CBD, Northern Beaches, North Shore, Sutherland Shire, eastern suburbs, they're all inner west, they're all in the Ausgrid network. Western Sydney is typically in some parts of Western Sydney are in Ausgrid network if they're closer to the city. But for outer Western Sydney, it's in the Endeavour network. The other networks, Energex, SA's in South Australia, Powercores in Victoria, Energex is in Queensland, like southeast Queensland. So these are the savings. So obviously you can see it yourself, but for a 10 to 50 kilowatt hour battery with Ausgrid, the savings compared to a standard retail offer is $500 to $4,000 per year, and that's not including the total. That's not the total savings. It's just comparing the savings with the versus standard retail offer. So again, it's not the total savings. This is the annual savings per year. So basically, it just goes to show that like switching to Amber allows battery owners to save more compared to being on a traditional energy plan, where a traditional power company can make a profit of how much energy you use, whereas Amber they don't, and Amber they don't make a profit of the energy that you export to the grid, whereas traditional power companies do. Okay? So this just shows the Angle Solix battery again, just some of the features. So with the design, it does have it's able to withstand like being located. I think it's 15. It can be installed within 15 meters of the coast if it's inside, or if it's in like the garage, or it might be like 200 meters if it's installed outside from the coastline. So yeah, it is scalable, modular. The batteries, so in 5 kilowatt hour units is the battery, and the inverter is also scalable. So if you've got a single phase electrical supply, which tends to be the case with older homes, you can install a 5 or 6 kilowatt inverter, and you can install more, like multiple ones of that. Or you can, if you've got a 3 phase, you can install like 5 to 10 kilowatt inverters, and then multiple inverters. So you could have like 2, 10, or 12 kilowatt, up to 12 kilowatt inverters, so 22 kilowatts in total. Or you could have 3 inverters if you had like 3 stacks. So if you had like 2 stacks, it'd go up to 40 kilowatt hours of capacity, and up to 24 kilowatts of inverter output with 2 stacks. If you have 3 phase, or 12 kilowatts with single phase. 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 plus 12 is 24. And then with 3 stacks, if you had up to 50 kilowatt hours, you could go up to like 30 kilowatts of inverter output. But yeah, typically for a 2-hour battery, like a 24 kilowatt battery would be sufficient. Although having a third inverter would allow for more export earnings, so you would get more out of it, but it would cost a bit extra with the additional cabling as well as the additional extra inverter. Because for each inverter, each inverter has to run cabling back to the meter board, so there's extra labor and cabling required for that. And if it's a more complex installation, like a larger battery, then it can, instead of taking 1 day, it could take 2 days, and so that does add additional costs with the installer needing to come to the site on 2 separate days. So just being transparent here, and yeah, it's built-in backup. So if the panel's connecting to the battery, then what that means is if there's a blackout overnight and the battery drains flat, when the sun comes up the next morning, the battery is able to restart itself from the solar power and charge back up again. So even if the grid is still down, like from sundown to sun up, then you can still continue to get power supply to your home. And so what we recommend with the blackout protection is to protect any essential circuits like lighting, fridges, because there is an additional cost to connect up any non-essential circuits like air conditioning and so on. And when you use more power when there's a blackout, it will drain the battery more quickly. And typically most people don't see the value in spending a lot extra for the blackout protection, for the full home blackout protection, compared to just partial blackout protection for essential circuits. The reason for that is it is significantly extra higher costs, because the meter board the circuits need to be upgraded to provide the blackout protection for any circuits that are upgraded. So most people just choose to back up the essential circuits. And the reason for that is the blackouts, they don't happen too often. Typically, they're quite rare, and when they do happen, typically they only happen for a couple of hours. So most people don't find it worth it really to have a whole home blackout protection. Okay, next, this is one of our panel installations. So you can see this is a drone photo. So there are 9 panels on one side and 7 by 6, 13 on the other side. So this probably could have been the north facing side, this could have been the south facing, or it could have been east-west split. So the north will generate the most, and east to west will generate about 15% less, and south will generate about 30% less. But these days, panels have come down in cost so much that you'll find panels really facing north, east, south, west, or south, and they still get a good return on their investment over 25 years. Typically, they get a return on investment within 3-4 years with the savings on the bills and any credits. Now, this is a small SunGrow battery. There's only 3 modules here, 1, 2, 3, 3.2 kilowatt hours each, plus the inverter on top. So typically, the average before the federal battery rebate came in was around 13 kilowatt hours, the average size battery. But now, after the federal battery rebate has come in, it's increased to around, I haven't checked the average, I think it's been more like 17 was the last time I saw the average battery size. It might be more than that now. This is another customer with Amber, so they made $120 over 30 days. So they only used 3.3 kilowatt hours from the grid. You can see over those days they hadn't used much from the grid at all. So generally quite independent from having to depend on drawing electricity from the grid. But with Amber, you might not need to draw any electricity from the grid, but it can do that to optimize for the earnings, like I mentioned earlier. So it can charge the battery during the day when the wholesale rates are lower, so that way there's more reserve in the battery to supply to the home when the energy is needed more, and just supply to the grid to make additional money for you. But overall, yeah, most of the energy is coming from the sun, and from wind power as well. And he got paid $1.69 for this particular day. Yeah. But the 4 days ago, there was probably a price spike because he had exported more that day, making more money for him. This is another review. So again, another small 9.6 kilowatt hour battery. with an inverter on top. This is a Sungrow battery. Tesla Powerwall 2, so they're no longer available, but the Tesla Powerwall 3s are available, and there are some advantages of the Powerwall 3 over the Powerwall 2, that the Powerwall 2 can't connect to solar panels, whereas the Powerwall 3 can, and the Powerwall 3 can also output more power. It can connect up to additional batteries as well. Powerwalls are also made in the USA, whereas all the other batteries that we install are made in China. Now, one advantage of that is that getting a battery made in the USA is that, I mean, not everyone likes Elon Musk, but like what he's doing with politics, but he is doing a lot for with electric vehicles, with rockets, with Neuralinks, with tunnel machines, a lot of different things. So there's a lot of innovation that he's doing. Robo taxis as well that have become available. So he does make good cars, and the batteries have had a good track record for reliability. And also their customer service is excellent with Tesla. But what I was going to say is another reason that people like the Powerwall is that it's made in the USA, and one advantage of that is that by buying a product made in the USA rather than China, is that not boycotting Chinese products means that you're not financially supporting the Chinese government, which are a bit notorious for bullying Uyghurs, Tibetans, Taiwan, the Philippines, and taking over coral reefs, in destroying them in the South China Sea, those kind of things. So if you don't want to potentially support financially, the expansion of the Chinese Navy and potentially their invasion of Taiwan by 2027, then it's worthwhile, and just generally contributing towards like overall more security in the Asia Pacific region and globally. Then if that's important to not financially support the Chinese government and them bullying, acting like a bully, then considering a non-Chinese product like a Tesla Powerwall would be advantageous. So this is a GoodWe battery. It's 38 centimeters thick deep out from the wall. About all the batteries about 60 to 70 centimeters thick. So the anchor battery is 67 centimeters, and it's around 60 to 70 centimeters thick for each battery. So the inverter is separately wall mounted, whereas the battery is floor mounted here. There's a concrete base, and you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 batteries. So 6 times they're 3.2 kilowatt hours each. It's 19.2 kilowatt hours. So 6 times 3.2. 19.2 kilowatt hours, yeah. Oh, what happened to the photos? I apologize. The computer is a bit slow when I'm recording. So 6 modules, 3.2 kilowatt hours each is 19.2. So 6 times 3.2 equals 19.2 kilowatt hour battery. Okay, and for GoodWe, if it's single phase, it's only a 5 kilowatt single phase inverter, or it can go up to 10 kilowatts with 3 phase. Okay. It's 38 centimeters deep. Okay. Wall mounted inverter. Next one. This is a Bluetti battery. Another review from a customer. Okay, so the Bluetti batteries are 5 kilowatt hours each module. So there's 4 modules. 5 times 4 is 20 kilowatt hour battery. And you also got 2 portable power stations. Anker also has the portable power stations available as well. And it's the installation is in keeping with standards for quality. So you can see there is a cable conduit for the brick wall here to make it look neater. And looks like it's installed. It's hard to tell, but maybe indoors. Maybe not actually. Alright. Next one. Bluetti is not currently compatible with Amber. They're working on compatibility. Could be a year or 2 years. GoodWiz working on integration. They are actively, it's in the pipeline to integrate with Amber. Bluetti is not currently in the future integration list, but they said they're working on it. Whereas the other brands that we work with, Anker, Sungrow, Tesla, and Sig Energy, they are all compatible with Amber at the moment, which allows battery owners to get more out of their battery in terms of maximizing the avoided bill savings and making more money with more exports for the electricity. So if you're not with Amber, then yeah, it means that if the battery is not compatible with Amber, what that means is when there are price spikes, it means that Amber can't control the battery to export the electricity to the grid. You might be able to manually do it if it's possible with a battery, but I'm not sure. Bluetti hasn't confirmed that they are able to do that. So this is another review from someone that got a 15 kilowatt solar panel system with a 25.6 kilowatt hour battery and a 10 kilowatt inverter. So probably Sungrow. Could have been GoodWe as well. Yeah, so you can read that. This particular customer, he has a larger 60 kilowatt hours battery, so he makes about $1,000 to $2,000 per month. So in November, on the 7th of November 2024, he was had about $1,700 in credit for the last 30 days at that time. So quite a lot of electricity exported in a day, like $1,400 that he made in a single day. So yeah, it's typically like that with Amber. When there are price spikes, you can make quite a lot of the money over a single day. So like of the $1,730 he had in as a negative bill for the last 30 days, that a lot of those earnings came from one single day. And so instead of only having a 5 cents per kilowatt hour export credit, which most people are getting around that value at the moment in 2025, November, he had an export credit of 752 cents per kilowatt hour compared to 5 cents. This is a 20 kilowatt hour Anker battery, one stack again, so it shows the capacity, and again, if you zoom in, like, shows how much power is going to the home and how much is coming from the solar, how many kilowatt hours are being produced by the solar system for that day. Alright, I'll just go over the rest real quick. This is quite a few more photos. So these are some of our solar panel installations. Some of our this is the ICO panel. We're now a gold rated supplier on Solar Quotes. This is the Tesla Powerwall 3 down here. This is the gateway, which provides the blackout protection and works with the existing solar system. So it allows the Powerwall to be able to charge from an existing solar system. And also, if there's a blackout, it can continue to get charged from the solar panels. Alright, so yeah, some of our solar panel installations. This is our store at the home show. Oh, actually, I think this is the Easter show. Yeah, this was the Easter show. That's Shamal. He's the founder of the company. This is Sam. This is Thomas. He's the sales. He's the sales country manager for ICO. So most of the panels, pretty much all of them, we install ICO panels. There are a number of unique benefits with ICO panels. One is that they have the number one efficiency for panels on the market. So I have compared with other panels and couldn't find any that were more efficient. So 24% efficiency, and another advantage is that they have partial shading optimization. So if a single cell, you can see that there's 54 cells in each panel. So if a single cell gets any kind of bird poop or shading on it, then the rest of the cells are unaffected in their performance. Whereas if a standard panel, if you shade a single cell, the panel can drop off significantly more. Another advantage is they have double glass coating, and so they can withstand hail impact of up to 40 millimeters compared to like 25 millimeters with smaller traditional panels. So basically, they're tougher. This is the Alpha battery. We don't really install those. This is an LG battery. We don't install those anymore. Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh yeah, this is just a table that shows the same savings that I showed in that graph earlier. So the nominal savings versus the net present value savings over 15-20 years for different sizes. Okay, so around about $67,000 to $364,000 normally over 15 years for different battery sizes, or the net present values like $26,500 to $177,000 over 15 years, or more over 20 years. Okay, I think that's about it. Yep, that's all. Okay, well, it's hope you've found this helpful, and anyways, yeah, I hope you found this helpful, and again, if you've got any questions, feel free to post in the chat, and feel free to reach out to me, and you can see how I can help. Alright, take care.